One more time for Dave Z, everybody.
Okay, so how's everyone doing? All right, let's give a big hand to TJ, not only for hosting, but for putting this together. So as TJ mentioned, I'm from Los Alamos. Anyone want to make a wild guess where I work? Anyone?
Smiths.
No, I don't work at Smiths. One more guess? No? Okay, well, I work at the lab. Shocking. I really like it, especially compared to my last job. So I used to work at, I probably shouldn't tell you. I'm involved with some litigation with them. I think I can tell you their initials still. IBM. So I was there for 20 years, so it couldn't have been too bad, but there were a few things I just never got used to. One was they just had these ridiculously unrealistic expectations. They would give me these projects with like not enough people or resources and these really tight deadlines. And if I ever said anything, they all said the exact same thing. Think of this as an opportunity. So I had a manager actually confess to me that they actually had a class for managers at IBM where they taught them how to respond to certain questions. My favorite had to be if you ever complained about your non-existent or really pathetic raise, they were trained to actually tell you, oh, be glad you even have a job here. So the other thing that I was not a big fan of was their idea of job security. Their idea of job security was, well, if you lose your job, I hope you're secure about that. So over the years, I saw dozens of friends and coworkers get laid off, usually for like no reason at all. I complained about this to my manager once, one of the 25 different managers that gave me over the years. He just laughed at me. He said, job security? You want job security? You work for your mommy. Oh, well, okay, A, that's a little demeaning. B, my mommy fired me. The joke was really on him now, because 6 months later, he got laid off. Where was I? Oh yeah, being laid off. So, I spent pretty much every week for the 20 years wondering, oh man, it's the day to day that it happens and I get laid off. And then this one random Tuesday morning, my very tactful manager sends me this invite to a meeting for 2 p.m. the next day. No agenda, no nothing. Uh-oh. So I send him an email, said, what's this meeting about? He just responds, well, I can't tell you. He basically told me with that. Then the next day, finally the meeting rolls around, and at the beginning they say, all right, you've left me hanging for 28 hours at this point. Am I being laid off? I said, well, we can't talk about that just yet. Isn't that what this meeting is for? Turns out he had this whole speech ready and he didn't want me spoiling the surprise. So after his 5-minute speech, he hits me with the, we need to go in a different direction. West? No. Oh, younger? Like, no. We don't even know what ageism is. Now, I was a little skeptical of that statement, partly because for someone who didn't know what it was, he was sure used it in the statement correctly. And partly because about 3 months later, I got a call from a lawyer saying, hey, do you want to join an ageism class action suit against the idea? I said, sure. Is there any proof that they did anything? I said, well, we did find an email that one of their top execs sent. It said, we have too many dino babies here. Let's get them go extinct. I was shocked when I heard that. I mean, not so much that he thought it, even said it to somebody, but holy shit, he was dumb enough to put something like that in writing? So when I finally did get laid off, I actually found it to be kind of less stressful than worrying about getting laid off. Kind of like the anxiety of losing your virginity. So it also reminded me of when I was a kid, I used to watch college basketball. And so if you commit 5 fouls in a game, you foul out, they kick you out of the game. So inevitably, about halfway through the second half, they would always put up this graphic. Who's in foul trouble? You're like, Flanders and Carlson have 3 fouls each. Simpson has 4 fouls. Burns and Smithers have fouled out. And I would always scream at the TV, hey, what are you saying? I mean, technically, Burns and Smithers are not in foul trouble anymore. So I also picked a good time, I think, to get laid off. Well, okay, I didn't pick it, but it did happen at a good time. I had some friends, coworkers, everyone, they're like, within a year, the company just kind of went to hell and they all quit. And whenever I would talk to one about it, I would laugh and say, yeah, we're both not at the company anymore, but at least I got a severance. So severance or not, I did need to look for another job. That was rough. It was, the height of COVID, and I had to apply to like 200 places. Half of them just completely ignored me. Half of the ones that did respond hit me with the thanks, but no thanks. Really came to appreciate those places because at least they kept it short and sweet. Saved me the nightmare of going through the interview process. So I don't know if any of you have been through that recently, but modern interviews, they go a little like this. You walk into the room, and the person there says, okay, go stand over on the corner there, face the wall, drop your pants, bend over, spread those cheeks. Let me fuck you up the ass. First couple of times I was like, no? And they always responded with, okay, but I guess you don't really want the job. I think I'll go find someone who does. And after a bit I learned, okay, I think I'm going to need to go through with this if I want to get a job. After the first couple of times they said, okay, thanks, but you didn't really seem like you liked that very much, so I'm going to have to say no. And I learned, okay, I really need to go into this with a positive attitude. Then they said, oh, thanks, but you enjoyed that too much, so I'm going to have to say no. Oh, thanks, lady. So that was one of the things I really liked about the lab. I mean, sure, they still butt-fucked me, but at least they bought me dinner first. That, and it was the only place that seemed to like my answer to the, where do you see yourself in 5 years question. I just said, well, if you hire me, probably right there. So they also did have a slightly stricter drug policy than you normally see in the private sector. I learned this when about a month after I applied, my now manager called me. Said, hey, good news. We want to interview you. I do have to ask you one question first, though. Can you pass a drug test? Now, I wasn't thinking too clearly when he asked me that. Because I would have just said, yes. Instead, I said, when? Apparently not realizing the implication of what I just said. He said, well, tomorrow. So I looked down at the reason I probably wasn't thinking too clearly right now. The bomb that was currently in my hand. Yeah, I can pass the test. So he said, great, we'll be in touch shortly to set something up. I know. So he hung up without telling me, wait, are you going to be setting up an interview or a drug test? He left me all anxious. I really need something to calm me down. Well, if they really do test tomorrow, I'm going to fail anyway. Might as well at least finish this ball. Thank you. I have been Santa Fe's favorite sit-down comic.